Hello, deplorable patriot rebel scum. Also, any woke twits and liberal halfwits, listen up to, as this is also for you. Anyway, please allow me to introduce myself, since I'm a complete stranger to most of you. I am Serenity. Oh, like Cher or Madonna? Like no and hell no, like Serenity. So let me briefly catch up to speed with where I am today. I recently came out of a coma I was in for 2 years. My doctor said I was lucky that I woke up because of the length of time that had passed. But if you've had the mindfuck I've had for the last couple of weeks, perhaps you too would wonder if I really was all that lucky. So you're probably wondering how my misfortune came about. Am I right? Okay. So it was New Year's Eve at the end of 2019. A couple of friends and I went to celebrate and ring in the new year at a Hollywood club. It had the typical glittering, roaring 20s Gatsby themed decor like thousands of other nightclubs did that year. So original, right? Midnight was approaching, champagne was flowing, so I was feeling pretty good, having a good time. Typical stuff. Turning down dances with a short, weird looking guys, and the drinks laced with Mickeys, and trying to avoid the girls that wanted to play with my hair because they love that it's so long. And they never ask. They just walk up and start touching it like it's a pack of Charmin on a shelf. And I never see them coming. They suddenly show up in stealth mode, and I feel something pulling on my hair. Well, soon it came time to drain some of that champagne. I went into the restroom, unaware that a toilet had overflowed. I guess the staff didn't know, they hadn't been made aware of it yet. I sauntered in. I've got my sexy platform heels on, strapped around my slender paper white ankles. I stepped on the slippery wet floor, and yeah, you guessed it. I slipped and fell to the water and urine soaked floor. A sparkly young gal in a gold flapper dress and a 2020 tiara knelt over me. She was speaking to me, but it was pretty inaudible. Her voice began to fade, like it was drifting further and further away. I knew she was still talking, though, because I could still see her lips moving as she looked down into my eyes with concern. A moment later, I couldn't see anything, but I knew she was still there. I could still feel her cold, just washed hand on my arm. The trauma to my head was really, really severe. And so I watched my pathetic little life flash before me. And it's not like the good stuff. No, no. The crazy, shitty stuff. Shitty memories of my childhood resurfaced. Like the many times my brother set honeybees loose in my room and hit me with a tennis racket. When my mom would decorate me with fresh milk at the dinner table and hit me with a quickie mop. When my dad shoved cooked carrots down my throat with a fork and hit me with a belt. A bit more random garbage swirled around my head and I spun and I fell into a coma. Ready to start out the new year, right? So for the last few weeks, I've been trying to catch up with the endless, insane changes and events that took place during the last couple of years that I missed. From the looks of things, I question if I hadn't woke from a 10 or 20-year coma. So much had taken place and drastically changed. Speaking of woke, I learned that the word has taken on a whole new definition, as did many other words and terminology by the radical left, like the following. If you believe in our Constitution, Bill of Rights, God-given rights, you're a radical. If you're an American patriot who loves our flag, our national anthem, freedom, you're now a fascist. If you believe all should be treated equally and that people shouldn't be targeted solely for being white, you're a white supremacist. If you believe in equality, not equity, that all lives matter, or even simply disagree with left ideology, you're a racist. If you believe immigration should be done legally, you're a xenophobe. If you believe in rule of law, police protection, and Second Amendment rights, you're a crazy right-winger. If you legally own guns or don't want your kids to be taught to be racist, you're a domestic terrorist. If you believe in truth, liberty, and justice for all, you're deplorable. Free and fair elections is now considered voter suppression. If you believe in honesty, transparency, and accountability, you're an extremist. If you believe in equal protection under the law, you're a far-right conservative. If you believe in the right to work, run a business, or pursue happiness, you're an evil capitalist. Or you went to kill grandma? If you believe in election integrity is important, you're an insurrectionist. And if you question election legitimacy, you're a perpetrator of the big lie. If you believe American citizens should be the top priority in U.S. policymaking, not special interest groups or other nations, you're a white nationalist. If you believe in truth, not the mainstream narrative, you're a conspiracy theorist. If you believe America should be the priority for Americans, you're a Trumpster, Trumptard, Trumplican, Trumpeteer, Trumpanzee, fascist, Nazi, and not even human, and should be re-educated. I also learned that the definition of hundreds of other words have changed, literally rewritten in dictionaries. This is really going to mess with my creative writing. How are we supposed to remember all these changes? The left uses our own words as their weapons to bully and discredit us when they change the meanings and take things out of context. Like, are we supposed to walk on eggshells because everything we say is going to be scrutinized and our words and meanings changed? Please remember that I've watched about 1,000 hours worth of news archives in just the last week alone. I am a fast reader. This is all quite new to me, so please bear with me. Help me out if I got any of this wrong. Still trying to grasp all that transpired while I was unconscious. It appears common sense is a thing long since past, like way past. 2 years for you all, and even longer, if ever, for the woke community and liberals. I really feel for you all. Going that long without common sense feels like, well, practically like yesterday to me, since I last encountered it. Rest in peace, beloved common sense. You were my guiding companion for decades. Sad to see you go. So, getting back to this newer meaning of woke. I don't know how I'll find a workaround by omitting that word from my vocabulary to describe what happens when I'm done sleeping. So, what did you do this morning? First, I woke up, I was awoken by waking up. Yeah. So, it's pretty crazy stuff to wrap my head around. Looks like I missed out on some really wild times. Let me see if I can summarize this accurately. Apparently, it's now legal to riot, loot businesses, destroy property, burn or spray paint anything, terrorize and threaten people, destroy businesses, jobs, and livelihoods, loot, use violence against police and citizens, spit on, blind, and kill law enforcement, and there's nothing they're allowed to do about it. Gather in crowds on freeways and attack cars and drivers. You know, it's illegal to just jaywalk before my coma, and now people can just hang out on freeways? Oh, yeah, and people can create a sovereign country out of nothing but barriers and tents and plywood anywhere they choose in the US, where each week there's a new dictator. No laws. Half the people are on drugs. The homeless flock to it. No one has to work or take a bath, and the tourism industry is booming. It's a trend called the Summer of Love. All those things are now legal, but only as long as it is done by certain approved individuals. But certain thoughts, words, and people are now condemned, especially conservatives or people in the pillow business. I guess pillows really suck these days. I know hospital pillows sure suck. They're hard and crunchy, so if that's any indication. No wonder pillow guys are condemned. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, let's not forget that some crazy virus escaped China and infected the whole world. Or so they say. I'm still catching up on it, but from what I understand, it's actually 5G technology that's attacking our brains and causing virus-like symptoms. It was a well-organized global conspiracy in order to sell lots of hand sanitizer and toilet paper and implement Bill Gates' ID 2020 nanochips veiled within COVID-19 vaccinations to track and control everyone who was foolish enough to take it. Apparently, Dr. Fauci, Bill Gates, global elite, and political leaders are the only ones that understand science today. So everyone else in the science community was also condemned. Even the late Dr. Seuss was thrown in for good measure. The only science anyone could refer to was created during a pandemic response conference called Event 201. It instructed that people can't work, can't party, can't go to the beach, can't skateboard, can't see their grandparents, and Christmas is canceled for everyone in America but the political elite. And they're not even religious. The theory is they're Satan worshippers. The only place citizens could go to was big box stores, pharmacies, weed shops, oh, and gas stations so they can drive to get their drugs, Cheetos, and Diet Pepsi. You know, only the essential stuff. And those who tried to run their small business could be harassed, fined, or even jailed. From what I've learned, everything was Donald Trump's fault. Or some guy named George Floyd, whoever that is. Whoever is to blame, for some reason, a rowdy youth gang named Antifa, many of whom are skinny goth and emos, I think, took it out on historical statues. Apparently, the 5G was messing with their equilibrium, and they were angry that they couldn't skateboard anymore. So they found a new use for their skateboards to destroy things with them. The 5G was interfering with their critical thinking, and they literally thought statues of founding fathers and other historical figures were at fault. And they went on a rage mob spree to tear them down. 142-year-old multi-billionaire George Soros heard about their penchant for destruction, so he drove out in a flatbed truck and delivered some bricks nearby where protests were scheduled, hosted by Black Lives Matter rebels who are angry because everybody hates black people and they demand everybody hate white people instead. George invited and paid the black-clad Antifa gangs to show up after dark and throw the bricks through business windows and bash them with their skateboards, while BLM and opportunistic movement hijackers went in and looted the places. They especially targeted jewelry, shoe, and big box stores. Antifa would then throw Molotov cocktails into the buildings when they were emptied of merchandise because the thoughtful gang wanted the owners of the destroyed businesses to get the most insurance money possible so they wouldn't be burdened with the difficulty of running a business during an economic meltdown. So considerate, right? The only positive news in all of this is I discovered $3,200 in my bank account. Compliments of the Treasury Department. Everybody got that, right? Damn. They're gonna go so broke. It's not like I can't use the money. I especially might need it since the Earth somehow became flat from CERN technology experiments, I believe. I'm afraid it's weakening Earth's gravitational pull, and that's why we're seeing so many Earth changes. I might need that money to buy me some gravity boots. So now the crazy left, along with the Coca-Cola company, is demanding that white people be less white. Is this for real? This is going to be really difficult for me since I don't tan. I mean, look at me. I'm like I'm red blistered in the sun. Is that what they want? This totally sucks. I'm one of the whitest people in America. What the hell am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to use brown shoe polish? Am I going to have lynch mobs coming after me to string me up for the crime of being so white? What is wrong with being white? This is just bizarre. What slack-jawed lackey came up with this horse shit? I still don't get it why garden seeds, vitamin D, and paint were banned, or why healthy people were quarantined. You all have put up with some crazy rubbish. All right, so here are some of my preliminary confunctions about these changes that I'm trying to wrap my head around after waking from a deep unconscious slumber to emerge in 2022. Stop me if I get loquacious. I'll try to stay on point. If your feeble, naive mind feels I'm not liberal enough because I don't believe in government overreach, government overspending, big government, big pharma, big tech control, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, globalism, communism, Marxism, socialism, corporatism, elitism, absolutism, immoralism, ignorantism, nihilism, egoism, terrorism, or euphemisms, the Great Reset, monopolies, oligarchies, corporatocracies, technocracies, hypocrisies, the Green New Deal, social credit scores, ESG scores, human trafficking, late-term abortion, deception, manipulation, capitulation, indoctrination, condemnation, demonization, re-education, illegal immigration, high taxation, humiliation, demonetization, fake allegations, fake polls, fake news, propaganda, doublespeak, ad hominem, gaslighting, fact-checking, harassment, bullying, slander, shifting blame, distraction, misdirection, coercion, political theater, cheating to get ahead, using a crisis to achieve agendas, court packing, equity, slave labor, insider trading, selling our data, citizen surveillance, spying on our presidents, mandatory lockdowns, mandatory masks, two masks, rewriting or erasing history, crime without punishment, zero bail arrests, virtue signaling, fucktards, libtards, snowflakes, Karens, Antifa, BLM, anarchists, Sunshine Movement, and other organizations of disruption, destruction, domestic terrorism, and anti-Americanism. If you conclude I'm not far left enough because I believe in respect, love, altruism, honesty, decency, humility, free will, reality, facts, truth, uh, critical thinking, police protection, the right for police to do their job without hindrance, which puts blue lives at even greater risk, that their lives matter as much as anyone else's. And because I believe in civil rights, civil liberties, justice, rule of law, equal protection under the law, right to a fair trial, right to representation, to be secure in our person, papers, effects, and abode, privacy, being neighborly, courtesy, common sense, the normal use of the English language, including the proper use of pronouns. If you speculate I'm not smart enough because I believe in making my own health choices without control, coercion, fear, misinformation, disinformation, or censoring accurate data, research, science, or doctors, I believe in eating cows, non-GMO foods, and growing my own food. Your green alfalfa munching ass can eat all the plant-based protein meat alternatives you want to make the world a better place. That's what you think it takes. I'll eat veggies when I feel like it, and actual meat when I feel like it. If you think I'm not liberal enough because I agree that Congress should pass no law for themselves but not for citizens, nor for citizens but not themselves. They are public servants, and they swore an oath. Too many have lost sight of that, if it ever mattered to them at all. If you suppose I'm not leftist enough because I don't believe in taking from the poor and middle class to give to the rich and powerful, nor that anyone should be above the law, I don't support calling hotlines to turn in neighbors or family for doing something that's not illegal, yet that is, or pressing charges against anyone for brandishing a gun to protect their home and family from mobs threatening violence. If your cranial input cavity perceives that I'm not liberal enough because I don't believe there's widespread systemic racism, attacks on democracy by conservatives, or that the biggest threat to America is Trump and his supporters, nor trust anything that MSM says, nor trust Biden, his corrupt administration, his plans, his cronies, and his dozens of executive orders. Let's circle back on the specifics, shall we? Can you imagine waking up after 2 years to find that Joe Biden is now the US president? Talk about an absolute mindfuck. And he barely even campaigned. And I'm supposed to believe this elderly, uninspiring, boring, bland, sleepy, stumbling, barely coherent, hair-sniffing shyster bordering on dementia got the most votes in U.S. history? What the actual fuck? Oh, and this dystopia that's being sold by a brighter future, unity, harmony, fairness, or reducing carbon emissions, it's an obvious sham. I'd be terribly embarrassed to be too ignorant to see it for what it really is. Once again, it's just another money and power grab. As much as I wish, it's not about making the world a better place. Whose money? Whose power is taken to achieve that agenda? Why, it's yours, of course, the average citizen. As always, John and J.Q. Public. It's nothing new. It's just the same shit sandwich with a different mustard, so the sheep will buy and eat more of it. And those too lazy to think for themselves will engorge themselves with the propaganda created to make them give up power willingly, unbeknownst to them, and give up their money. And they'll be so enamored with the idea, they'll become unwitting, useful idiots that will further propagate with words of enthusiasm for the tasty shit sandwich, which they actually need because now they know what to think and believe, and it gives them purpose. And if opposed, they'll become little angry soldiers and assault and harass and cancel any who oppose the erroneous information. Just as they do with all the other programming, propaganda designed to take power. That's just how the elite have programmed them. It's by design. They have decades of experience in that tactic and have perfected it. So my advice is to question what you think you know and dig beneath the surface. Otherwise, you just may become one of their puppets. If you feel I'm not woke enough because I don't believe in any life is more valuable than another or should receive preferential treatment, because I believe one can have cultural appreciation without cultural appropriation, that one can be white without being inherently racist, that one can be born white or any race without having guilt, the need to apologize, be a subclass citizen, owe a debt, make reparations, or other sacrifices, or kneel. I sure as shit am not going to be washing anyone's feet with my hair or otherwise, unless it's Jesus Christ himself. And fuck if I'll be apologizing to anyone. I'm sorry. For what? For believing in reality? For having values? For believing we should all have freedom as long as it doesn't shit on others' rights for freedom? If you postulate in your closed little mind that I'm not woke enough because I believe in equal opportunity, but that a job should go to the most qualified, not the fourth or fifth most qualified instead because their skin is darker. I believe content and character is the only thing that matters when determining if somebody's worth a damn. Race and skin tone is absolutely inconsequential. We are all people. Only one race matters. The human race. And all of the human race should be free to determine their own course in life. If your pea-sized brain determines I'm not American enough because I value rational, logical, fact-based open debates without talking over one another, free speech, autonomy, traditions, diplomacy, character, integrity, morals, principles, values, ethics, courage, accountability, live and let live, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our flag, our freedom, our national anthem, our pledge of allegiance to the United States of America, our dear constitutional republic. I'll be slipping away from this so fast. If your narrow mind believes that I'm not worthy enough to breathe air because I'm against hate crimes, discrimination, being woke, cancel culture, critical race theory, identity politics, censorship, deplatforming, election fraud, abolishing police, oppression, open borders, sanctuary cities, killing jobs, killing businesses, killing babies, killing seniors, killing pipelines, pedophilia, government interference, crony capitalism, corporate bailouts, tyranny, population control, hidden agendas, book burning, false flag ops, false narratives, making lists of targeted conservatives, excuses, cheating our youth out of an education or indoctrinating them with communistic ideologies, giving what we worked for to illegal aliens, putting the needs or security of criminals or legal aliens ahead of law-abiding legal American citizens? If you feel I'm not fragile enough, sensitive enough, if I'm too direct, not gullible enough, not trendy enough, scared enough, liberal enough, not woke enough, not an entitled, delicate snowflake in need of a safe space and a TikTok and Twitter audience for virtue signaling who doesn't throw a tantrum when I don't have things my way, that needs to be graded on a curve to pass the class, or in need of a gold ribbon for participating to feel special. If I'm too enlightened, too free thinking, too decent, too kind, too fair, too unbiased, too non-discriminatory, and too much of a free spirit that doesn't hyper-focus on stupid shit and insignificant differences between people for your woke libtard ass, because I don't believe my rights end where your feelings begin, where your privilege begins, where your insane ideology begins. In other words, if I'm just too much for your hypersensitive pansy Girl Scout ass to bear, then fucking cancel me, asshole. And fuck your feelings. And I'm going to be joining you anytime in your righteous quest for social justice, or help you further destroy America with your mostly peaceful protests, cancel culture, censorship, and divisive propaganda. So fuck off and save your fomenting and rhetoric for someone weak who's eager to join, so they don't feel left out of groupthink. If you're so woke, so smart, so educated, so righteous, so superior, and so liberal that you draw assumptions based on little to no information or evidence because it fits your narrative, bias, belief system, and don't want to take the time to discover the truth, expand your perimeter of understanding before you react. You'll learn something. The critical race theory woke social justice worries have been brainwashed into believing is not based in reality. So why would you want to waste your time promoting, regurgitating something that isn't real? Therefore, saying you're woke is synonymous with saying you're stupid and brainwashed. Do you really want to look that stupid? Enough. Enough woke idiots. I don't think I can take any more of this stupid. I just hope the woke youth of today can grow out of ridiculous ideologies, like many do as they grow up and think more freely. It's absolutely essential if there's any hope for the future of society and the human race. So think. And to help you do that, look beyond the school textbooks that were hand selected for your brainwashing educational experience. And expand your mind. Try reading about the history of failed ideologies, failed societies, failed policies, crumbled empires. And you'll see it has so much in common with what you believe to be true today. Do you want to be a contributor to more failure? Or do you want to be happy, truly free? Do you want others to be happy and free? One can never be free when others' wills have been forced upon them. I wouldn't presume to tell you what to think. I believe in free will. I only encourage you to do some research on your own and use the brain you've been endowed with. If your words, actions, and ideas hurt others, encroach upon their freedom or happiness, then it's time to rethink your role in this world. Because if you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. It's time to choose. You choose to fight for the establishment or choose to defend the freedom of the people of the United States. If you want to cancel or insult me, troll, or show off just how damn woke you are, there's a comment box below. Feel free to use it. Or not. Why would I care? Lucky winners will have their likeness used in future videos as examples of imbeciles, or for inspiration for absurd characters. If you want to start an intelligent dialogue for others to build on, rant, rave, critique me, correct me. Add to this, add your commentary, add your thoughts and revelations, send positive thoughts, fan mail, or profess your undying love to me. You may use the comment box. Heck, go ahead and tell me even about your pet snail, the kind of shit day or awesome day you've had, your woke neighbor, etc. As long as it's not used for something illegal, have at it. Wait, making death threats are still legal, right? Just checking. You never know these days. No doubt, there's still so much to catch up on. If I'm not woke, liberal, or irrational enough for you, I invite you to not share this video. If you enjoyed this video, give that thumb icon a press and pass it along to your friends and family that love the great red, white, and blue. If you don't like it or love it, then fuck off. If you love me or hate me and want to see more, subscribe to my charming little channel. Click on the notification bell icon so you don't miss new content. Sorry, I don't have any monogram gun holsters to plug or pacifiers for you woke little toddlers. But I do have some cool t-shirts, hats, and other cool swag I designed, as well as a piggy bank link. Your donations and purchases can help me take time out of my boring day job to do more videos. I work for my boring self, so it's extremely droll. Like I'm the most boring boss ever. But at least my boss allows me to have flexible hours. The only privilege I'm afforded. So drop me some chump change in my coin purse or buy something you really want but you don't really need. Whatever support it is, it can't be what my boss pays selling hot electronics and drugs from the back of my van. So I can do more fun videos to make you laugh, make you think, and make you cheer. Let me know what you'd like me to feature in future videos. I have some pretty whacked ideas. Then I'll do more. Because I won't be able to stop myself after this. My comedy debut. I appreciate you being an audience for it. Let me know how you like this vid. It's the first one I did that didn't involve the art of macrame plant holders, gourmet roadkill recipes, how to convert your toaster into a robot vacuum, modifying long-range assault missiles, or the exciting religious experience of attending KKK rallies. My favorite pastime for hardcore American patriot Neanderthals. P.S. Will somebody please let me know how I can get some of that white privilege? I still haven't found out where I'm supposed to sign up and get it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Courage, peace, and love. Oh, and see you at the next Klan rally, deplorables. By the way, I got a message from Beyond the Grave from George Carlin. He says, "I told you so. Now fucking live with it."